So, what do we think about the training area?
It's very spacious, so that's very nice.
Like, they have like a lot of like hangboards and crims.
It's very nice.
I think they can maybe add some more weights though. But you have an adjustable kilter board.
Adjustable kilter board. This is goated. This is goated.
And a Moonboard 2016, so that's also really nice. So let's talk about Routesetting. Yeah, what do you think about the Routesetting in Beest Boulders Delft? Well, I think the dynos and the power boulders are really unique. They're really well made. Just really cool to climb, and yeah, I had a lot of fun climbing the boulders in the session. I think almost every boulder that I climbed had like a specific beta you had to climb them, and like, you know, it didn't really felt like I was missing anything, and it all felt quite, you know, the grade also. I do think that this gym is a bit harder than some of the base gyms I've already visited, but I do think that this gym has some really nice boulders, and yeah, it's definitely like one of the gyms I would probably go to more often. But there's like a little problem with the Routesetting though. That's why I'm not going to rate it a 10, but a 9. And that's that some of the boulders have a really weird start to them, or a really weird ending. Like for example, the mint that I kinda did. I don't know if it really counts because I wasn't really, like, you know, I established on the start, but yeah, it wasn't really 3 seconds, so I don't know if it really counts. But yeah, I felt like the 7B, that specific 7B was only like really 7B because of the start, while the rest, if you know, knew a little bit what you have to do and you were like, you know, tried it a bit like on the middle part, you could basically just do it quite easily. Also, like, there was this orange one with the slopey holds on top. It's like they turned the holds upside down. Yeah, like, I had to be honest, I did like half of the boulder, but I just couldn't really get further than that because of those holds that were turned. I didn't really want to try it a lot more times as well. Like, you know, the holds were quite new and, you know, quite painful for your fingers because there wasn't really a lot of chalk on them. But yeah, I just really didn't feel like this boulder really was fun to you know, really climb. There were like a lot of boulders that were really fun to climb, but there were also some 7B pluses and 7Bs that just really didn't make any sense. And yeah, just, you know, had these really weird starting holds or usage of holds. Or, you know, had a really weird ending that really didn't make that much sense, where you have to really like think what you have to do. Of course, that's really nice if you want to really like learn to read routes, but in this case, it wasn't really about route reading, but more just, you know, making the climbs really like kind of sandbagged. But yeah, nonetheless, I think the gym is really, really nice, and I think it definitely deserves a 9 because of all of those really nice boulders that I tried today. So yeah, so for cleanness, yeah, the gym looked really clean. Men's changing rooms were also really, really clean. The showers though, I have something to say about that because the showers were really, really clean, but damn, the showers get hot there. Like, it was like I was showering with like hot water. Like, I couldn't really, like, you know, wash my hair or body, like, because I had to, like, you know, go out of the shower 3 seconds and then go into the shower again, because it was just too hot. I also had to open the door because there was like so much like steam in like the shower that I kinda, you know, sweated more than I felt really clean. So yeah, that was definitely a minus point when it came to, like, you know, the changing room. But yeah, for the rest, yeah, the gym looked really clean. Yeah, also the sitting places and restaurant part was also really well made, and yeah, was also really, really clean. Boulders also were really, really clean. Not that much chalk though, but I also kind of get it because the gym is quite new still, so the holds still have to be, you know, climbed on a lot. until they are going to get much less sandpapery. But yeah, like I think cleanness, I'm going to give it a 10. I don't have anything bad to say about the cleanness of the gym, because it's a brand new gym. It smells really clean. The halls feel really, really clean. And yeah, also the men's changing rooms were also really, really clean. I don't know I don't know if the women's changing rooms are clean also, but I do think they are probably clean. So yeah, for me it's going to be a 10 for cleanness. So yeah, safety is a safeness. I'm going to rate a 8. I think they can maybe put some safety signs if you're not walking on the mats and stuff. And I think they can also maybe put some safety rules in the training area about how to use the boards, clean them after you have used it, that kind of stuff. And also how old you have to be to use the training room. I definitely think the moonboard is not really a really good training tool if you're still really young, because it can definitely lead to problems with your fingers when you're growing up. So yeah, I definitely think there should also be a specific age of how old you have to be in the training area. But for the rest, yeah, it's just a really safe gym. It's really big also. So yeah, now for sociality/friendliness. Well, the staff was really, really friendly, and the people there were also really, really friendly. Everyone was a bit doing their own thing, and yeah, if you tried a boulder, there were also people cheering you on. So I think it's definitely going to deserve the a 10. I do think because it's quite a new gym and there isn't a lot of people, it's really nice to bring someone with you, so you have someone to climb with you. But yeah, I do think that this gym is really social. Music is also really, really nice in this gym. I also give them credit for that. And yeah, it is just a really nice vibe, this gym. That's that's why I'm going to rate it a 10. It doesn't feel empty, and there is still quite a lot of people there. If you can't climb and you have to work, it's also a really good place to have meetings and also work on your laptop and other stuff. Yeah, there isn't really anybody bothering you also in the gym. Just really friendly people and really nice people. So for me, it's going to be a 10. So this is the only minus point that I have, but for air quality, conditioning and ventilation, I think I have to rate that a 4. The reason for this is because there just really wasn't a lot of fans in the gym. There were only 3, and I think they could have maybe spread it more throughout the gym. There were also not really that much air conditioners, and yeah, it felt cooler in the men's changing room than it felt in the gym, which is not really that surprising, because they don't really have a lot of open windows, so the warm air can't really escape. I definitely think they should maybe place more fans in the gym, because we sweated quite a lot. It's definitely not as bad as Sterk. I was covered in sweat and chalk, and chalk was literally stuck on my skin because of this, how much I sweated. I definitely sweat a lot in this gym as well. I think that the conditioning and ventilation can be a lot better. So it's time for reviews. Our first review is by Nick. Biggest minus point is a way too hard mat, and he says that it's inside cold if it's outside also cold, and that the boulders were also quite disappointing. I will be removing 0.5 points, because I definitely do agree that the mat is quite hard, but it's also because it's quite a new mat. But the rest I am not really agreeing with. I also don't think that the boulders are bad. If you are more of a power climber, there's a lot of really hard boulders in the gym, and there's also quite a lot of overhanging boulders, and the dino boulders are also really nicely set. So yeah, I'm definitely not agreeing with that the roots are bad, because it's just not the case at all. But alright. So our next review is by Simon Tiemersma. beautiful, spacious bouldering gym. It is pretty pricey though, a bit more unpersonal than the other base gyms. I have to agree with that. The gym is definitely like a bit pricey, the entrance fee. Yeah, if you're not a student, it can definitely cost you around 14 euros. So yeah, I'm going to remove 0.5 points for this review as well. I don't really agree with the other things that are said in this review, but alright. So our next review is by Anna Soybean. Amazing location and everything is still so new. As a beginner, there weren't really a lot of boulders that I could really do. A lot of the walls weren't really vertical, but the boulders were definitely cool, and you could easily spend a lot of hours in the climbing gym. The only minus point is that it's really warm in the climbing gym. If the sun shines, I don't know if there's air conditioning, but I hope that it doesn't get too hot in the summer. For the rest, he says that the service of the restaurant wasn't also that great, and that it costed her 20 minutes to get her food and drinks. I can also confirm that because there isn't really a lot of people behind the bar. I'm not agreeing with the beginner boulders though. There's a lot of beginner boulders that you can still climb, and like a lot of boulders are quite nicely building up to harder grades. So yeah, I do have to agree with the air conditioning and of course also the service. So I'm going to remove 1 point. So yeah, that was it for all of the reviews. Let's now go to the total score. So the all total score would have been a 8.3, but because I had to remove 1.5 points, it has gone from a 8.3 to a 8.1. Yeah, I think this gym is really nice. I do think that Beest Amsterdam and Beest Den Haag Centrum are a little bit better. That's mostly because of the tents. Like, you know, the tents are just set a little bit weirdly, and also like I think the biggest thing why is because of the ventilation also, and the air quality and conditioning. I think yeah, Den Haag Centrum does like a lot more, and also Beest Boulders Amsterdam does a lot more with the ventilation, and I think that's why this gym is at 8.1. It's definitely one of the best base gyms I visited, with like, you know, Beest Amsterdam and Beest Den Haag Centrum being a little bit on top. But yeah, I do think this is definitely my top 3 gym to go to. And also the top 3 gym I would definitely recommend to people going to the Netherlands or climbing in the Netherlands. So yeah, I don't know what my next video will be. I think it will probably just be the rating video about Boulder Rotterdam. I have quite high expectations from that gym. I heard a lot of good things about that gym, and I also saw some really nice boulders coming from that gym on my Instagram feed. So I'm very curious how that gym is going to be. And yeah, I think for the rest, I will probably just climb in some gyms, maybe just upload some shorts of hard boulders that I climbed there, because you know it's quite hard right now to really make session videos, because like a lot of the gyms close by don't really set a lot of really hard stuff. I think like the only gym that really sets like hard stuff right now or has a lot of quite hard boulders is probably the Fabriek Haarlem, with like Krachtstof, but like Krachtstof has this really hard 8A project boulder, which is just like really finger skin dependent. And yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do it, but yeah, I'm going to try. But yeah, like that's a bit of a thing. A lot of the gyms in the Netherlands have like the problem that they don't really set stuff above 7C. There's only like a handful of gyms that do that. In the Netherlands, it's just really hard to find a proper 8A. Usually it's just like, you know, that they just made the border really weird, and because of that it's just not really like, you know, that you usually just like skip those really hard borders. I am going to Antwerpen very very soon, So yeah, I will be climbing in Cleanliness Island, and I will probably rate that gym as well, because my goal is also to rate some boulder gyms in the Belgium region, because Belgium and the Netherlands were of course one country, like the best, and I feel like when I've rated everything in the Netherlands, I also kinda need to also rate everything in Belgium, because there's a lot of Dutch climbers also climbing in Belgium, so I feel like I do have to rate boulder gyms there as well. Also because it's completely different, and it's basically like our neighbor country here in the Netherlands. So yeah, but yeah, this is all I wanted to say. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later!